Hi parents, are you considering tutoring for your child? Stick around because I'm starting a new series today on the topic of getting a tutor. So I'm going to share with you all my secrets and advice on finding the right tutor and getting the most out of tutoring. Hi, I'm Rebecca with the Parent-Teacher Bridge, where you can find the ideas and resources you need to empower you to be your child's most influential teacher. Well, a little bit about myself. I have tutored for the last 7 years just on my own, but prior to that, I was a classroom teacher for 12 years in both private and public schools. And even during some of those years, I worked for some tutoring agencies. So I have a lot of experience in this area. And over the years, I have found some parents who really make the most out of their tutoring experience for their child, and some parents who don't. In other words, some parents really get their money's worth and some parents don't. So how are you going to know what exactly to do? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Now, before we begin, be sure you click like and subscribe so you can be notified each time I upload a video for your child's learning. In fact, I have many videos here on YouTube that tell some of the things that I do in my own personal tutoring. So if you feel like you cannot afford a tutor right now, but you are willing to do the work, you can find some great ideas there on my channel. Okay, so today's topic we are going to start with is, how do you find the tutor? You know, in many cases it's frowned upon for a child's teacher to be doing tutoring outside of the regular school day. It's considered a conflict of interest. In other words, in a worst case scenario, a teacher might not give as much attention to the child during the school day in order that they can tutor the child for money at the end of the school day. So that's usually not an option. It might be in some areas where there's a little bit more freedom, such as a private school or something. But where are you going to find a tutor? We have social media. And you will find many different groups, whether it be a community group or something for your town or your city or your neighborhood, places like that where you can ask people for recommendations or a starting point. Feel free to ask your child's teacher if she knows of anyone. I can remember when I was teaching full time, I didn't always know someone to whom I could refer that child for extra help. But there might even be a business or a tutoring franchise in your area. And the same thing applies. You still want to hear from people who have used them before about their references. Who have they helped and what goals did they help them reach? The first thing to consider when you're searching for a tutor is the tutor's credentials. In other words, are they certified in specific areas? Do they have experience bringing children from a certain point to another point and showing growth in their learning? How will you know those things? Well, on the topic of certification, most states will allow you to search a person's name on a database. You can check your education section of your government state website where you can find and see, is this person certified in your state? You can also just ask the tutor if they're certified in a specific area. That may be in the area of dyslexia, that may be for certain grade levels, that may be for certain subject areas even. You do have the freedom to do that. Other than certificates, something else you might want to ask for from the tutor is a resume. Now, this is not something that parents normally ask for. I'm not sure that I've ever been asked by a parent for a resume, but I think it would be helpful for you to see what experience that tutor has. What grade levels have they taught? Where have they taught? You might find that you have some sort of connection. And lastly, having references. In other words, word of mouth from other parents who have had success using that particular tutor. Believe it or not, when you're asking for recommendations on certain tutors, some people will recommend someone to you just because they're a friend or just because they know that person is looking for a little bit of extra income. And while that's not wrong in and of itself, you want to find a tutor for your child who has had experience helping children reach their learning goals. One thing that I think is particularly helpful if your child decides to go to tutoring is to at least observe some of those initial sessions and pop in from time to time. Now, in my case, I always tell the parent that they are welcome to sit right there and watch everything that we do together, because in my mind, that gives the parent a form of education as well. And at the end of every one of my sessions, I go over the notes with the parent, especially if the parent decided to drop their child off. I want the parent to have documentation on everything that I noticed about the child so that if they need to take that to the teacher, they can do so. And I want to give the parent recommendations on what they can do over that week until I see them again. Don't forget, you can get a free guide, 5 quick tips to immediately help your struggling reader. I will leave a link in the description below. Be sure to check out the Parent Teacher Bridge on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, you are your child's most influential teacher.